So there are very few people in this world who I get this excited about bringing into my world and in front of my community to share wisdom and talent and experience and just pure heart. And I I met Lou uh 30 over 30 years ago. He came to Sherman College, which was the chiropractic school that I went to. And I was asking questions like, if our body's so smart, then why does it subluxate? Like I was the wise ass in class asking the questions, right? Well, if innate is all knowing and all powerful and brilliant and ingenious, then why would a subluxation be a bad thing? And in walks this dude he had a tie on with a blazer, and he had an x-ray the length of my body, and he's holding, I remember what class we were in. We were in room 40, and he's holding the x-ray up and he's telling us wah, 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 wah. And then like 4 years later, I met Lou again in a BGI seminar with Dr. Sue Brown, and he blew me out of the water. He had completely transformed his experience on the planet, and he shook my world. And then a year later, I was at Masterpiece Training Camp with Arno and my buddy Wade Port and a bunch of people who might even be watching this. And I was deathly afraid of heights. And I had to climb up a mountain, and I was literally, you guys, on my hands and knees because I was so freaked out. And everybody's up at the top of the mountain. They've already hiked up. Here I am with all my issues and my big backpack, crawling on my hands and knees, and Lou's on the top of the mountain. And somewhere within that hour, I hung over a cliff. Like my body was hanging over a cliff with Lou telling me I can do anything. I hiked back down the mountain, and my fear of heights has been gone ever since. That is in a nutshell how Lou has transformed his life and how Lou has transformed my life. And now we are here full circle, sharing together our heart space and our love for all things healing and wellness and well-being and connection. And hi, Lou.
Hello, Jody. Hello, Katina.
Katina's here too. And what I'm going to do, which is what I don't usually do, is I'm just going to hand it over to you. And I would love to hear you share with not only with my staffless practice community, but with the group that we're broadcasted live to. You know, we are serving in a very interesting time, and there is a lot of lack of certainty in the field. And if that doesn't make sense to you guys, there's a lack of certainty with the practice members who come in and ask us to help them. And it's uncertainty because we just went through, for most of us, the first pandemic we've ever gone through, right? Like in New Jersey or in the part of the world that you're in. But now we're in this aftermath of all of the things that have happened, and people are just unsure. And Lou, I would say of all of the things that you do best, that I know of your talents, you're you're so talented with being able to be okay with lack of certainty. Like you're so okay with being okay no matter how not okay things are. So if you could just speak to that, and then if you need a little bit more direction during your share, just grab me. I'm right here.
Awesome. Thank you. First of all, it's an honor to be here. Thank you. And I appreciate everybody that's joining us. Well, actually, I'll start with this. Yesterday, I had a call with Jody. She was helping me with something, and I've known her as an incredible soul, as an incredible healing practitioner and chiropractor. But I didn't know the depth and breadth of her business acumen. And one of the pieces that she shared about, she's like, I didn't know this section, so I had to figure it out, right? And so that's a huge piece, is trusting your ability to figure shit out, right? And so I'd like to bring that to the table as one. I have, a number of decades ago, because once I started this journey that I will be on eternally, it became clear that in order to keep growing, I had to be uncomfortable. So I became comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? That's what Jody was just alluding to. Therefore, for my journey, I constantly put myself in places where I'm not comfortable because that's where growth occurs. So I get to find out where my fears are, where the lacks and the limitations might be, and then growth ensues. And that's across the border, hanging out with people that are doing things that are outside of my realm. Matter of fact, tomorrow morning I'm going to a skydiving event, and I'm working with some world-class people who are doing stuff that's way beyond where my current capacity is. Initially, that's where the diapers come on. It's game on. Yet that's how I get to grow, right? So whatever venue that is, and the piece for sure that Jody's talking about, woo, what's up in the field? So life is changing. I'll keep it simple, right? Life is changing, and it's requiring us to change. And people that are trying to get back to what the normal was, there's no such thing because it's requiring us to upgrade, right? So the public at large is still trying to navigate. They need leaders to get them there. That's you, right? You are the ones, but you've got to be grounded in your truth and your authenticity. And the gift that is going to continue to come is to challenge who you be. And that's your opportunities to keep discovering who you be at your next level. What do you stand for, right? And what you might have stood for might not be what you stand for now. There's no right or wrong. It's just what is the next expression and evolution of you. And then to have the courage to take a stand for that. That's, for me, that's the path. That's the essence, right? Is show up in your gifts. Show up with your courage to tell your truth, not a watered down version. If somebody's not ready to hear it, next. But watering it down doesn't serve anybody, right? Definitely doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve those who are needing to hear what you have to say, because we can all say the same thing, but because of who you be, it emanates differently. Therefore, you will attract different people, right? And that's why we're all here. We all have a different vibrational dance in order to connect with different people. And if we don't show up, then we're robbing those people of our gifts. Yeah. And so we'll get into some tools to how to process that and how to achieve those aspects. Any other place, Jody, that you want to specifically go? Because you know that I can go in multiple places and down the rabbit hole. And
if you guys are just jumping on, there are a lot of people watching us live. Dr. Lou Corleto is one of my mentors in the world, and I don't have a lot of them, but he was cherry picked by the best, right? And we're talking about showing up and serving in a time of uncertainty, and how do you do that? And what you just said, we need to upgrade, and you have to be grounded and challenge who you be. I want to know more about what that means, because usually people are like, challenge who you are. Not actually, can you just go there? What does that mean, challenge who you be?
Yeah, so that's my vernacular. Challenge who you be. It's not grammatically corrective. So we grew up in this world of, in order to, we have to have something, do something, and then be something, right? I have to do this, be have this to do this, and then I can be this, whatever that is, successful, happy. And it doesn't work. The essence of all of it is the beingness. It's the starting point. It's the flip of what we've been taught. It's be, do, not. It's be, do, have, not have, do, be, right? So it begins with beingness, who you be, right? So for me, it's the spiritual essence, right? Who are you? Not what do you do, right? Because who you are supersedes everything you do. Yet who you are expresses in what you do. And so the continued process of discovering who you be at your next levels, right? Because you're a multidimensional being. So who are you, right? That's the yumminess. And as you keep discovering that, and then have the courage to share it full out without apology, not arrogance, but just clear, confident, and straightforward, because people need something to grab onto. and it's not knowledge, right? Google is full of knowledge. AI's got more knowledge than all of us put together. But wisdom and experience is part of your essence. And that's what people are looking for, right? And then when you really incorporate it, so the difference between, years ago when I used to teach in different platforms, and I'd ask people like, hey, who believes blah, blah, blah? And they'd all raise their hand. I'm like, well, you're screwed. And they're looking at me like, what do you mean? Because you still believe, right? If you still believe, then you can unbelieve. Belief is nice. It's a starting point. But then there's faith, belief, knowingness, and ownership, right? So like before the pandemic, I'm saying these are my words, before the pandemic, there was a lot of practitioners who believed that in the healing concepts and the body was self-healing. And here comes this narrative, and a lot of them bailed, right? I'm like, whoa, what happened to you? I thought you were grounded in this. Didn't make them wrong. It was information to me that was a belief, not an ownership, right? Because when you have ownership, the tidal wave can come and you're still going to be standing because you're grounded in a level of truth that doesn't get moved, right? And so that's my invitation to you, whatever you practice. At what depth do you really live this thing and own this thing to the core of yourself? And that can always grow, always. There is no place to get to, right? It's just a constant evolutionary mastery of what you do by expressing who you be.
You know what's really trippy, Lou? I'm kind of getting freaked out by like how a lot of us have relationships one-dimensional, like on a screen with each other, because that was one of the, side effects of the big boom, and where we all know Zoom and Facebook and screens. And then when you meet somebody, I wrote about this in my blog this week. It's like I literally walk up to people and start touching their face because you can totally see me. I smell them. I touch them. Sometimes I'll
you
take
lick
like a
people
little
like
taste,
Katina, I
a
know
little bit, right? Like I just met my friend Danielle Angela in person, and we've been intimate friends for like 3 years on Zoom, right? And we just met in person. And there's this disconnect that happens when we're in person because I'm so used to looking at somebody on one dimension. And then when we're together in person, it's like, I don't really understand what I'm feeling right now. It's such a, there's such a force to move through with this, again, lack of certainty. So that's an example, like that's a little example of the uncertainty that's everywhere, right? Wherever I go, whether I'm getting my car washed or I'm going for a walk in the woods, I don't know about the dude that's running by me and what his story is, whatever. Everywhere I go, I feel this uncertainty. So can you speak to, like, even though that's there, how do you show up, suit up, show up, and serve?
Nice. Yeah. So let's see. I have a metaphor that I use with people, and it's are you a thermometer or a thermostat, right? Literally a thermometer, right? It measures something, temperature, and so if it's cold, it goes down. If it's hot, it goes up, right? So as a metaphor, literally the thermometer then is reactive to the environment, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I spent early part of my life as a thermometer. If you like me, yay. If you don't, oh no, right? The boss gives me a raise, great. I get fired, oh no. So up, down, up, down. That's just a horrible way to live. But most people do, because we've been used to feeding the acceptance from external, right? So it's an outside in world. And as a thermometer, then we're up, down, including uncertainty, right? If things are certain, I'm happy. They're uncertain, I'm not. It's still a thermometer. When you become a thermostat, right? So a thermostat, the little thermostat like in your house, you set it to 70, right? If it gets cold, the thermostat kicks in and brings it back down. If it gets hot, it kicks in the AC and brings it back up. It's going to do whatever it has to set that tone. When you learn to set the tone for your life, then uncertainty is cool because you're certain, right? The environment can be uncertain, but you're still certain. So when the person's running, behind you, cool, but I can take care of myself, right? So run on by. You don't want to stop here, right? Unless you're going to give me a hug. And so,
Ah, or a smell or
yeah,
a
or
kiss
kiss
of
or a
some
lick
sort.
or, whatever, however that'll
So
get.
for somebody who's stuck in that, they are constantly looking outside to make sure they're okay. And I can certainly be that guy on any given day. How do you flip it? What do you
Yeah,
do?
great question. And I'd say the majority of the world is that way, right? And I was decades ago until I continued to do the work. Because I realized, it was an intellectual thought until I continued to do the work, and then it became a reality, which is acceptance is true acceptance is an inside out game, right? So back to the thermometer, when I'm looking for acceptance outside of me, then if it's yay, cool. If it's not, oh no, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be at the gates of hell if I don't have the gates of heaven. If I don't have inner acceptance, I'm still at hell. But when I have inner acceptance, you can park me at the gates of hell and I'm okay because I'm good with me, right? So back to when I used to need like a validation from people, then I was shackled to how they responded to me, right? And when I finally learned to just be, discover me, own the truth of me, then I'm good wherever I get to go. So I set that thermostat. So the work is to keep going internal. Um, and again, we'll do some tool stuff in a second, so it's not all just theory. To get past the subconscious limiting beliefs and the stories that were either programmed into you, or you experienced things and gave meaning to, but they're still in the subconscious and they're running you, like they do all of us, until you upgrade those stories and those patterns. Now you're actually truly running consciously, not. There's a Bruce Lipton's classic book, Biology of Belief. In a section in there, he was even stated himself that he thought, wow, I really thought that I was making choices and decisions and desires from my conscious mind. And neuroscience says that's only 5% of the time. 95% of everything that comes through is from subconscious programming, right? And so that's where a lot of the stuff that's driving us. So we run into limitations in success or relationship issues or health issues. No matter we're doing work, we're still going to run into that until that's cleaned up. Boom, then you get to go free. And all of those things, including perception and reality, become part of identity, self-identity, right? And when we drive our identity so long that we believe that's who we are. Well, that's just who I am. No, no, no. It's just how you're showing up. It's not who you are. Because who you are beyond that is just magic, right?
Okay. I want to be, do, have, not have, do, be. Who you are supersedes everything you do. People need something to grab onto. Are you a thermostat or a thermometer? I love what you said about if you're standing at the gates of heaven and you're in hell between your ears, it doesn't matter where you are, right? So give us some tools.
Well, there's one right there, Jody, is when you're in yours, mean that's still in your head, right? It's taking that longest highway. You've all heard the metaphor, right? Back from here to here. And like, for the clients I work with for decades now, they're like, man, how do I get back here? I'm like, here's the question is, why'd you leave? Right? Why'd you leave? Well, we all did, because eventually it got hurt. And I'm pointing to my heart, right? So this is our center, right? This is home base. When you look at the classic chakra system, right, there's 7. Well, the heart sits right in the center because the upper 3 are considered more to the thought world and the lower 3 are more to the emotional world. And when we're always emanating our field, and that's the electromagnetic process, right? So electric thoughts, magnetic emotions, and when those combine, they create the feelings, right? And heart-centered, right? Is getting back home. When this gets hurt, we fire it, run up in here and try to run our life because we think we can avoid by controlling. It's an illusion, but everybody does it, right? I'm going to control my world to avoid getting hurt or betrayed or whatever the thing I'm afraid of happening that happened before, right? I'm going to make sure that shit doesn't happen again. So I'm firing this sucker and I'm coming up here. Well, we do so for so long, we believe this is home. That's not home. this is home, right? So getting back into self, right? And also another piece is getting back embodied. Because of previous experiences, a lot of people are disembodied, right? They're afraid to be in their body. Especially all the healing practitioners on this call understand that. But sometimes the healing
And then
practitioners,
wait, I have to interrupt you because then they come to us and they're like, my head hurts, my knee hurts, my neck hurts. Well, no shit, it hurts. You haven't been in it for like 5 years, dude. So
yeah,
it's whenever, I cannot tell you how often I have people come to me with a story about why they're coming to me. I know that they're coming to me because they need to go from here to here, right? They may not know it for a year in. And
yeah.
you know what I say to them? And I say, cool. You know when your neck will start hurting? When we're dead, that's when we have no symptoms. You know when our head doesn't hurt? When we're dead, that's when we have no symptoms. So what's the story? What's the signal? What's the symptom all about? And how can you heal and evolve with it? So again, I'm going to ask you the question. You know, I don't know what the answer is. And I teach this stuff, right? To go from your head to your heart. Like, what do you physically do? Is it not a physical thing? Is it a deep breath? Is it a picture it? What is it?
So there are some actions you can do for sure. Breathing is the most powerful place, right? So that's getting centered again. So as human beings, we have, fortunately, unfortunately, we have the capacity. Most people spend their whole life unconsciously breathing. I call it a biological breath, right? So you don't have to think about breathing as a human being. You have this inner wisdom, right? This innate wisdom that runs your physiology, and therefore your respiration is going to happen. That's just enough to stay on the planet, right? Existence. By allowing yourself to stay in an unconscious breath, this is why most people spend their life in the past or the future, not here, right? And just periodically, like if you just start periodically choosing to consciously breathe, like I chose that breath. And then when you learn to do some other smaller pieces, like I'm a breathwork facilitator, so we can go way down the rabbit hole there. But taking time to consciously breathe brings you here and now, right? So when I run retreats, we work with wild dolphins and whales. These are the cetacean families. They're conscious breathers. They don't have the ability to go involuntary. If they don't choose to breathe, they die, which keeps them in the moment every second of their existence. Can you imagine being present just for 24 hours, let alone a lifetime, right? And so being present and then being present to all the feelings. Another thing that people are afraid of is the body sensations, right? I have a sensation, I don't like the way I feel, and I want to run from it. No, 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 no. Stay home. And breathing allows you to stay present when you feel these feelings, right? Grief, sadness, like feel the feelings. We've lost our bandwidth. We have this bandwidth of life, like, you know, spirituality, physical, mental, emotional, blah, 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 blah. But even the emotional spectrum, we only want to play in a certain place because that's safe. Safe isn't alive, right? If you're playing safe, you're not alive. You're just getting through the game. You need to expand your emotional bandwidth again. And that is learning to feel all the feelings, be with all of them, and enhance your emotional bandwidth. And it'll give you the capacity to stay present and be with life, all of it, right? Because it's not meant to be like this. You know, static line is death, right? Beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
There's a lot that I want to say. First of all, Lou, I sent you a couple pictures not being present. I think that they'll make you giggle. There's a lot that I want to say, you guys. Are there any questions that you have? Because this is really for you. I wanted to share my love for Lou with you because of how much you guys give me. Yes, it's being recorded. It will be here in the big Facebook group and we'll download it and turn it into a recording.
Jody, I'm going to follow through because it's coming, unless you have something.
No, go, please.
Cut me off.
Go.
So this is a call to action for everybody on the call. Which if you're involved with Jody's World, you are a healing practitioner of any sort. What I mean by courage is your courage to show up in your truth and lovingly call your people forth, right? Quit treating their symptoms. That's not helping them really. Yes, it's helping them on the superficial level that they engaged you with, but it doesn't create resolution anywhere, right? That's just fancy duct tape. And this isn't judgment. This is a call for all of us to up our game. So love them up, tell them the truth, right? So when I had the practice and people come in and go, oh, I got this and I got this, I'm like, what are you telling me for? They're your signals, not mine. I got my own signals, right? So it's teaching them, well, listen to your body. What is this saying to you? Oh, I just want it to go away. Oh, I see. You want me to fix it. This is not a machine shop. You are not a machine, right? You're a dynamic living entity. You're not meant to be fixed. You're not a carburetor, right? You are a being. So beings need healing, right? And that's a process. And that requires your involvement. It's your life, not mine. I'm not taking responsibility for your life. I'm going to give you the tools. I will help you. We'll help up-level your nerve system, help you integrate the shit you have, but you need to get involved with your life. It's your life. Take responsibility for it, damn it. And love them up, right? Call them forth. And they will love you for it. They might get pissed initially because you're empowering them, right? Some people don't want to be empowered. What? I can heal? Yeah, it's the only way it works, right? Because as we do that, then more people wake up and then we get more consciousness on the planet. Hey, then the planet changes and humanity changes and evolution continues. If we keep people where they're at and stuck by appeasing their stuff, nothing changes.
For the people who are listening to this thinking, shit, what if I'm one of the people who are stuck?
100%.
Yeah. So
own it, acknowledge that, and then get help, get unstuck and start moving, right? And that's why you're with Staffless Practice, right? Jody has not only the skills herself, but she also brings people in like me that can help you begin this process. And I also have I'll share something at the end that'll help you continue the process too.
Give it to us, Lou. What do you got for us?
So, hey, another thing you mentioned, I don't have one, so I'm going to use this instead. I got a fancy calculator. So pretend that's a cell phone, right? So part of what Jody was saying, like the Zoom world, right? 3 years, she just, we got the same one. Look at that. Distractions, people, right? So another thing I share with my people is manage your environment. It's your responsibility. What do I mean by environment? Well, both internal and external. We'll start with the external. Manage your environment. Who do you hang out with, right? Are they people that love, support you, and challenge you into your greatness? Because if not, find new people. Otherwise, you're just hanging out with people that are keeping you stuck in old ways of being. That's your responsibility. Oh, but they're family. Genetics doesn't require guilt, right? Set yourself free. Keep moving, right? Manage your environment. You know, what is the home like? What is your practice like? Does it represent you, or is it a model that you think you were supposed to have? Set yourself free. I didn't wear shoes in my practice. I'd walk out to see new people in shorts and no shoes, and they're like, I'm like, hey, I'm Lou. How are you? They're like, cool. Looking over my shoulder, like, when's the doctor coming out? Right? I'm like, because it's my sandbox, right? You're welcome to my sandbox. No, everybody is. You just can't poop in it. If you poop in the sandbox, you got to go. But everybody's welcome in the sandbox. But that's me. And I play the music I like. I would have some people, hey, can you change the music? I don't like it. Hey, there's the front door. I'm playing this for me, right? So internal environment. Yeah, right? Be mindful. And I'll go into this deeper before we hang up. Huge. What are you allowing in here? So back to the phone, right? The disconnect, not just Zoom, but the cell phone world has caused people to be available 24/7. And it's frying your nerve system, right? It's keeping you in a sympathetic response. So it's a constant state of stress. Your nerve system's not meant to do that, right? And that's your environment. Turn the damn thing off. Leave it somewhere, right? Do not carry that thing 24/7. You train people how to teach, to interact with you. So if you are available 24/7, someone's going to take opportunity of it, right? If you're not, they're going to figure it out. It's your responsibility. Manage your environment. So what goes in here, right? What goes in here And what goes in there? Like, what do you put in to feed this temple? What are you putting in your consciousness? What do you allow in? Do you watch the news? Do you listen to that shit that they program out there? Woo! Be mindful what you let in. I threw the TV away 25 years ago. I'm not missing out on anything, right?
Well, we actually have a TV show, and you happen to be on our TV show, so you better find a TV
Okay.
to watch the
Yeah. So I'm not
show
telling anybody
Corleto.
anything to do. If you have a TV, choose what you watch. Don't just sit there and let it feed you, right? And because in modern television shows, what's between every show and a break? 2 out of 3 are drug commercials, right? You're broken, you're sick, and you need this thing. It's constant education of how weak and stupid and broken people are. And Adolf Hitler's top-notch man, right? Tell a lie loud enough and often enough, and it becomes a truth. People aren't broken, and they're not sick. They're buying into a level of disempowerment and weakness. And especially in the United States, I travel the world. A lot of countries, there's no drug commercials on TV. You walk into a store, you don't see the first 45 aisles full of meds, right? It's not, because the people aren't broken and weak. Isn't that funny? Why is this culture? Oh, because we've got lobbyists that just rewrite the laws. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Don't get me going, Jody.
Dude, I didn't get you going.
Yeah. So manage your environment is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? Manage your distractions.
It's
What?
so good to hear you say. I mean, it's such a simple thing and we all know it, but I'm like, oh man, I probably do have the screens on too much. Like, and we all need to be reminded, no matter how much we meditate and work the yoga mat and do the things, it's so easy to fall into all of these. They're not even habits, they're enforcements that everywhere we look, we see. Like everywhere we look, how many times are we advertised to in a minute? If you have a screen on, and now it's like, whatever, we can go down that rabbit hole. So how do people find you? How do people get more of you and what you're teaching? What are you up to, Lou?
All kinds of good stuff. Actually, next weekend, we have a 4-day immersion on the property. So my partner and I, one of our core values is to be in nature, because nature is our greatest teacher and it's our greatest healer. So we actually live in 92 acres in the foothills of Cherokee National Forest. Like literally, you have black bears coming through. Last night we had a pack of coyotes, and for us, it's just bliss. It's just sanctuary, because that's important to us, right? Managing our environment. Our environment is nature. We live in the woods. So we have this 4-day immersion where we're bringing people out, and we're taking these concepts and going down the rabbit hole in a big way. The most recent thing, and this is a tool that would serve everybody, and so I will share a piece, and then if it resonates, play. So the 3 core pillars of my work are conscious breathing, conscious languaging, and up-leveling the nerve system, because those 3 will just catapult someone's life into multiple new dimensions, by discovering who you be and then moving forward with just utmost insanity of yumminess. I just recently put out 2 brand new courses, like 2 weeks ago, conscious languaging. And this is something I've been using personally and teaching for 30 years. And I took 30 years and condensed it into 2 courses. And the courses are really short video trainings with frameworks. We had it professionally recorded. I'm proud of it. It's absolutely amazing. And this is life altering. It's one of the first things that I work with any of my private clients is it's how we get when I talked about, so Carl Jung said, until the unconscious becomes conscious, we'll call it fate. It directs our life and we'll call it fate, right? And this is what I mean by the programs. Like years ago, before I became aware of this process, decades ago, I was wondering why I kept repeating stuff. Like, why is this happening again? What's going on? And I've been doing work, yet here they keep repeating. I'm like, what's going on? And I didn't know I was creating them. You know, it's back to being a victim and blaming the world or blaming the people. That's the other piece too. Side note, get out of the passenger seat and get into the driver's seat of your life, right? Passenger seat is victim consciousness. Driver's seat is victor consciousness. We take ownership for every thought, deed, and action in your life. Once you do, woo, the level of empowerment, because you own your life. You take responsibility for the entire spectrum. That's a side piece. We dive into that deeply in conscious languaging. And so conscious languaging is a tool that you get to, so I teach you the whole process, that you get to put into play on a regular basis. I still use it every single day after 35 years now. And I keep working it deeper and deeper. I would need a whole nother call just to unpack what happens in your life when you choose to implement this. So there are 2 courses, Conscious Languaging 101, the fundamentals, and 201, the awakening process. We just had a launch and put it out. The launch special ended 2 weeks ago or 8 days ago. But with Jody's permission, I'll share a link. The whole page is there that you can see what it's all about. And there's an opportunity. I've given the code for Jody that you can get both of those courses for 50% off for like 2 days. That's it. They're already priced ridiculously low. My clients pay me thousands of dollars to teach them this. The courses themselves are below that, and the 50% off, it's ridiculous. Anyways, that's that. But it's, again, why is it it's a core pillar? That's why I'm bringing it up. It is a game changer to clean up the stuff, because what you speak is a representation of your current beliefs and consciousness. And until you realize what they are, you're going to keep using them like I did. Once you start paying attention and see what they are, then you get to choose to upgrade them, which then changes your belief structures to become more congruent to who you are, not who you were, who you thought you were, because of what somebody told you, right? That's part to the identity. Because remember, reality, there's actuality and reality only exists in your cranium as it does mine. And my reality is based on my culture, my past, my experiences, the meaning I gave them, and that deals with my perception, all of that stuff. And then it becomes your identity. And until that gets cleaned up, the true essence of you doesn't get to come out and shine. That's why it's such a game changer.
I'm pinning Katina. Katina, you're pinned. Katina, is there anything that you want to say? Who Lou and Katina together?
My sister.
Mother, father, brother, sister, aunt, uncle. They're 2 of my people. And the amount that these 2 people have taught me in my life is unparalleled. So Katina, I know that I'm totally catching you off guard. I'm going to just ask you to unmute. Can you find the unmute button? There we go. Is there anything you want to share?
Yes. Okay. Do Lou's dolphin trip. Do anything he offers. I've gone to 3. I brought my husband on the last one. I went to change my life, to connect to my soul. I found my soul. That's why I had to go back a couple more times. And talk about challenge. I walked through challenges, which I particularly don't like. And I didn't like seeing other people go through these difficult challenges, but it empowered me that I can do anything. So the fear still exists, but the empowerment, once it gets turned on, you can't turn it off. And you got to go to places and people who spark that inside you. Because either you're going to get fed and plugged in, or you're going to get sucked down into the dark trenches. Choose to climb up. And no matter how much shit gets thrown on you, like that story about the asshole donkey that they threw in a pit, and then everybody throws dirt on him to kill him. What does he do? He climbs on top of it, and then he climbs right out with a whole lot of dirt on top of him. Spits on everybody and keeps walking. So no matter how much shit takes you out, reach for the anotara, how you call it? Reach for the above. Reach for your mentors. Reach for your angels. Reach for your wisdom people. Reach for people who are going to pull your soul alive. We got this one life here till we go to our next one. Make it big. Lou is a master and a straight shooter. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to plug into a main line, I highly recommend you hook into Lou also.
Yeah. Thanks, my love.
Thank you. And Jody, that's why I'm hooked into them.
Yeah, no doubt. So real quickly, a piece on fear, right? So for me, before doing this dance for the previous umpteen decades, when fear popped, I ran into, like most people, which is either when it's really intense, I stay on this side of it and then I'm paralyzed. If I had the moments to bust through it, then I bust through it and I'm on the other side. Even though I knew that intellectually, like every time fear shows up, it sucks and I would freeze. But every time I did go through, I was always on the other side and everything was good and I got better. We're like, why not just do that? So the dance is, I invite you to have a different relationship with fear. So my relationship with fear is it's my teacher. So when it pops, I don't run anymore. I just bow and go, oh, you're here. I'm ready to learn, because game's on. That means there's something I'm afraid of. And I choose to find out who I am on the other side, whatever and however that shows up, right? Selling the practice, raising your prices, right? Basic life stuff, relationship stuff, whatever that is, or hanging off the side of a mountain, right? Jumping out of an airplane at 30,000 feet. So stuff pops, great. How? And remember, back to passenger seat, driver's seat. Passenger seat, life happens to me. Driver's seat, life happens for me. So everything that shows up in my life, the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, the ugly, the pretty, everything is there for my benefit. That's a choice, right? That's back to managing your environment. That's a choice. I choose to see that I'm not a victim. So everything, first of all, I brought it to myself. Otherwise, I'm a victim. I've brought it to myself, and everything's for my benefit. Everything, even the unpleasant stuff. Matter of fact, the unpleasant stuff usually has the greatest gifts.
When I hear you share, I think, oh yeah, that's how I'm supposed to think. Oh yeah, that's how I want to be. Like, and that's why I put myself around people who have what I want, including you and including Katina. And Cassie is on my team and she's messaging me, I just want to take Lou and put him in my pocket. And I'm like, let's go visit him. So a lot is going to come from this. And one of the things that I would like to see come from this, just as the facilitator of the staffless practice world, anybody who, tonight we're doing a training to learn the staffless way. It's a free training. And anybody in the next, it's October 5th right now. So the next 25 days until November 1st, if you join Staffless Practice Academy, we're actually going to gift you Lou's program. So it's going to be included in your experience with Staffless Practice Academy. And Lou, if you were going to say something to the people who are listening, who are they've got one toe into what we're doing with Staffless Practice Academy, and they're like, I'm not so sure, it's kind of cool, I think it could help me, I'm not positive that it could help me, what would you say to those people?
I get it in the sense of how many times in the past were you engaged in something and it just didn't turn out? Like, I've had people show up to my events and like, God, I just didn't want to come to a retreat and it was not going to challenge me. And they're like, oh my God, the first day I was going to go home and not come back because there was so much challenge, right? And I get it. We've been misled, betrayed, let down. And there's that voice that goes, not again, right? I don't want to engage again. What I can say is that's not one of the places, right? So what Jody and her team bring to the table is so much. A vision and a mission that's backed up, right? That's the big part, is can you back it up, right? And they can. So the support, the clarity, just what she and I did on the call yesterday, her ability, I'm not a structured person. The first thing she sent me, I opened up, was this spreadsheet. I went, ah! Spreadsheets scare me. I'll jump out of an airplane at 40,000 feet before I open up a spreadsheet. But the structure, right? So she had this structure, and then the creativity, and then the insights, the intuition, the education, and the background to give me all that I ended up needing in this call, right? So I shared that from the place that if you're on the fence, the question is, do you need support and guidance to go to your next level, right? If that is the answer, then the deal's over, right? Join. Like, if you know that you, in order to go to the next level, whatever that is, you're killing it and you want to go to the next level, or you're stuck and you're not sure how to get out, right? No matter where in the spectrum, she and her team can serve you. So if you know that you're in that place, then this is the group that's going to get you there. Because, oh my gosh, the package that they have to support every aspect of your moving forward is included. Everything. You're muted, Jody. You're muted.
I just shared the wisdom of the universe and you missed it. Oh, well.
I was going to say, if you were talking good stuff about me, you're going to have to repeat it. So
I'm just really grateful for you. That's my good stuff. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop our live stream and we're going to go into the Zoom just with our students, and we'll open up the mic for any Q&A. So if you're watching us on social media, lean into Lou's offerings. They're beautiful. I'll make sure that his link is below wherever it is that you're watching this. And again, until November 1st, 2023, Lou's program is included in Staffless Practice Academy offerings. So here we go.